Maura Gale. OMG, 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 that's me. Come on in the room. We're taking OMG live tonight.
OMG, OMG, OMG. Welcome to OMG. It's the Maura Gale radio show, and I am your host, Maura Gale, actress, author, evangelist, and content creator. And you all know that I love serving Mauravation because it's the perfect blend of motivation and inspiration. And tonight's conversation, I must admit, is a tough one to me. So I want to welcome you guys to the conversation. It's going to be real. It's going to be raw. Prayerfully, it will offer some hope, some healing, some insight. As you all know, this is May, and May is Mental Health Month. And with all that's taking place, not only with COVID, but also with the senseless crimes that we have been witnessing. And in particular, the reason that I titled this show S.I.R tonight is because the last thing that Floyd George was saying was, "Sir, I can't breathe." And we've heard this before. And I thought, "Sir," you know, the Holy Spirit gave me an acronym for it. SAD, Incomprehensible Reality. SAD, Incomprehensible Reality. That's what S.I.R stands for in this space of an hour that we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to, at some point, open up the conversation to have you all call into the radio show and let me know if you have had any experiences with the law, if you're a male and you've had experiences, or some of my sisters may have had an experience or run-in with the law, or if you're a parent, a wife, a sister, just a concerned person, and you are concerned about your brothers, our sons, our fathers being impacted and affected. I want to hear those fears. I want to hear those concerns. And I also want to hear some of those real life stories of how you've been able to process, where you've placed it, how you're dealing with it emotionally. It's a tough time dealing with this whole COVID-19 and knowing that African Americans are disproportionately impacted and affected by the dis-ease. And then to hear that there isn't as much testing taking place. And then, of course, if you talk about the job loss and the unemployment rates, you know that African Americans numbers are a lot higher in that respect. And then you tag on to that the incarcerated and all of our brown and black brothers who are in prison, who are contracting COVID and being exposed to it, not being tested, or the workers at the correctional facilities leaving, coming back in, and they're not being tested. It's a lot. That in itself is enough to bring you to tears, to frustrate you, to get you angry enough that you want to do something. But that situation has been compounded by some demonic forces, is what it seems. It's demonic forces, it's racism, it's a lot of things that need to be spoken out loud. I had a girlfriend, when I told her I was doing this show, she was like, yeah, she said, it hurts my stomach to hear about it and to know it's still taking place. She says, but we can't whisper this. We have to speak it. We have to voice it. And I told her that was exactly why I wanted to do OMG tonight and allow this platform to be one that will hopefully be medicinal, hopefully be one that would encourage or inspire or be a catalyst for, you know, at least dialoguing about it, unpacking it, and exploring it, you know, because until we really look at how it's affecting us, not just us as a people, but you individually. If you are overly anxious about your son leaving the house, or your husband making it, taking it, going on an errand to the store, or walking down the street, walking his dog, you know, to think about being in a park in New York and asking the woman to put her dog on a dog leash, and how that situation escalated into the cops being called on a bird watcher. The cops not only being called, but she utilized that moment and that situation in a terroristic way. She knew that calling the cops could potentially get this black man killed. She also knew that in raising the decibels of her voice and sounding panicked and threatened and intimidated and saying a black man is threatening myself and my dog while she's physically hurting the dog, unaware that she's choking her own dog because she was fixated on how to hurt this African American man who merely asked the woman, could you put your dog on a leash? We can think about that. We can also think about Ahmaud Arbery taking a jog in a neighborhood who was hunted down. When you put all of those things together, and of course you can go from Trayvon to Sandra Bland to Julio, you can go to all of the people that have been gunned down in the streets behind, I'd say, racist actions or intentional, deliberate hatred towards a people. It brings you to ask, why? Why are we being hunted? Why are we being persecuted? Why are we being intimidated? You all know the conversations that you have to have with your boys, your young men, your sons. Put your hands at 10 and 2. Put your hands on the dashboard. Don't look an officer in their face. Don't make any sudden quick moves. Don't get out of the car unless they ask you to get out of the car. Don't raise your voice. Don't talk back. There's so many don'ts that go with this particular story. And even when you do the things that you're taught to do, you're still not guaranteed to make it out of the situation alive. And my heart, it is broken and it is bleeding. And y'all know me. I'm not one to use my social media platform to talk about a lot of the negative things in the world, not because they don't matter to me, but there's so many voices out there giving life and hope to that generally I just give the opposite. I try to encourage people where they are. I try to instill hope and inspire change and allow people to think about the good things. But it's been all too much here lately, and I can't be quiet about it. I've been processing, and I've been praying, and I've been hoping, that prayerfully this platform of OMG and the Up to Me radio umbrella under which OMG rests, I've been praying that it would offer you something in this hour. So let's unpack a few things. Okay, this being Mental Health Awareness Month, I can't help but wonder what the images being etched in our mind are doing to us. We all know that when they were showing images of us in gangs, raping people, robbing people, all of these black exploitation films, that caused Asian Americans, white Americans, Hispanic Americans, and even African Americans to be fearful of their life because of the images that were being portrayed on TV and on film. And that went on for years. So they still have that in their mind. And some of us see a group of black guys coming down the street, and even if you're African American, you're thinking, uh-oh, should I cross the street? Which is not a natural and normal thought, but it's been etched and burned into your mind, so even you flinch and even you get intimidated or scared. That's not how it should be. And the sad part is, when we began to TV shows that showed us in a more holistic way, multi-dimensional characters. There was a season where there were so many black shows on air, and we were glad to see the representation of us, and we felt better. And then there was the Cosby Show, and you're seeing a doctor and a lawyer. And for some people, this was unbelievable. They thought, oh, it's got to be some kind of sitcom, because clearly that's not happening, when we all knew this is happening. It's not just happening. This is a normalcy. This is how we are. We can have a civil conversation, and we don't all sit on a porch eating chicken and watermelon, and we're not walking around barefoot. It's the same way they portray Africa, like it's poor and broken and destitute, when Africa has some of the richest things in the world that they have been robbing and stealing from. But I won't digress and hang out on that. But images play a huge role in how others perceive us, and then how we end up perceiving ourselves. And in the midst of COVID killing us because of the pre-existing conditions, because of eating fatback and chitlins, because that was all we had from the masses house, and then your mama taught your mama's mama how to make it, how to make pork chops with gravy, and how to use salt pork to season your cabbage and your collard greens. And then that gets passed on to Big Mama and them, and Big Mama and them pass it on to Mama and them, and Mama and them pass it on to you guys. And then we end up cooking the same food. And until you deprogram yourself and say, hey, I can use fresh herbs and other seasonings, or smoked turkey versus pork, or I can use better ingredients to make these dishes taste well. But that came later, and even some people still don't do it, and that's fine. You may like your flavor, your food flavored a certain way because you're used to it. But do know that that comes with a price. And when we get sick, when we are ill, it's compounded when things like this happen, this pandemic. When things like this happen, it's exacerbated for us, because these underlying conditions make you more susceptible to be the person that gets intubated. And so mentally, we're trying to process watching 13% of African Americans live in a city, but 36% infected with COVID, knowing that in the prisons, we're the largest population represented, Black and brown people. So you got those against you. But then you add to that people who are supposed to be Americans like us. Black Americans, white Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, whatever the case is. We're Americans. Americans. This is the United States of America. And there's no unity. And we're perceived as not being, not only not American, but perceived as not even being human. When I think about the animal shelter commercials where the plea goes out for a dog, or when New Orleans was underwater because of Katrina and people were rescuing animals before they were rescuing us on top of roofs, when they were rescuing embryos, unborn children, before they were rescuing us on top of roofs, you gotta know that those images in your mind, they don't go away. And so what do we do? What do we do? You know, Ava DuVernay made a statement. I saw her being interviewed by Gayle King, and I'm going to try to find, this is what she said. Gayle King asked her, you know, how do we tell white America, how do we solicit their help to help us combat this? And Ava DuVernay said, wait a minute. We've had the emotional labor of racism our entire life. It's not our job to tell white America how to help us. White America has their, she didn't say this part, that part she said, but white America has two eyes and a heart that God gave all of us. And we can't do it alone. Martin Luther King couldn't do it without white America. We can't do it alone. Barack Obama would have never been president without white America. So until we all unify and say enough is enough and literally begin to lock arms and lock hearts with what we can do, it will remain the same. We have to call out injustice. We have to tape and film injustice. We have to speak out about injustice. We have to write about injustice. We have to contact our government officials, our senators, our Congress, our House. We got to contact the powers that be to remind them that they work for us. And then we have to get involved at a local level in order to get more people of color involved who actually care about the things of people of color. So those are just some of the things that we have to change our thinking in order to be impactful and effective. You know, I've got a line. People were asking, you know, how they could call in. There's a number you can call if you want to call in and join the conversation. I had hoped that I could put you guys into the chat with me, but I'm not sure that I can. So I may not be able to do that, but do know that I am trying. I'm endeavoring to be able to do this. Someone says, if you can find a better ingredient in your communities, that would help. Someone else, which is why saying I don't see color is one of the most dangerous things ever spoken. You have to see color. And I know people are trying to be kind and politically correct, and they think, I don't see color. No, you see color, and I need you to see color, because I need you to see that this skin can get me killed, but your skin can get you to not even be questioned. You can kill people in a church and have the firearm with you, and they know you killed them, and they can take you to go get McDonald's before they take you to a jail. You can murder somebody in the street with a shotgun after hunting them down, and they let you go free for months while that person is dead and their family is left mourning. That's the difference. You can put your knee on someone's neck and you get fired, but you get to walk free and you're not in jail. You've lost a job. You'll get another job. So I need you to see color, and I need you to feel my pain when I think that my husband has to leave the house and go to work, or leave the house and go to the doctor, or leave the house and go pick up his clothes from the cleaners, or whatever errand he may happen to run. And in an instant, he could be pulled over for no apparent reason and possibly thrown onto the hood of a car and roughed up and maybe perhaps killed. Until you know what that feels like, until you know what it feels like to worry that you might not see your loved one, not because they're out doing something stupid or senseless or committing a crime, but because they're driving while being black, or walking while being black, or jogging while being black, or shopping while being black, or selling CDs outside while being black. Until you've had to experience that, you don't really understand what we deal with. And then you add to that we have sons, little innocent black and brown boys, who you have to teach at age 5 or 6 that if you see the cops on the street, don't run, or try to get away so that they don't kill you, or make sure you stay clear, or put your hands in the air. But even putting my hands up doesn't stop them from shooting now. There was an incident that just happened where I saw this young boy, I believe his name was Tyre, T-Y-R-E, I believe is his name, and I may have it wrong. If you guys know it, please feel free to correct me on it. But this young black boy he rolled through a stop sign, and the cops ended up surrounding him. He kept driving to go to his grandmother's house because he was afraid he would be murdered. He rolled through a stop sign. The video picks up with, I think there were 6 to 9 police officers, guns drawn, while the young teenager is laying on the grass with his hands straight out going, please, I'm afraid, please, my hands are right here, I'm right here, please don't shoot me. And they're saying, get up. And you hear the people on the camera saying, no, 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 you stay right there, because all of their guns are drawn. Y'all put your guns down. You see he doesn't have a weapon. You all put your guns down, and then he'd feel more comfortable standing. But with y'all having all your guns drawn, if he does anything, it's a reason for you to shoot. And you hear the people begging the officers to please put your guns down, please. He doesn't have anything. His hands are just stuck out straight, and they're empty. His 90-year-old grandmother comes outside to try to intervene between the officers and her grandchild, and the officers began to come in closer, and they get all the way up onto the kid and the grandmother, and the next thing you know, the grandmother gets knocked to the ground, 90 years old, and this grandmother was walking with a cane, and she's 90. They knock her to the ground, and the camera footage goes black. But I say that to say, why are guns drawn on us for rolling through a stop sign? Why was a knee put in somebody's neck for the alleged crime was there was a suspect of something about forgery? When does this equal death? When we have witnessed with our own 2 eyes people spitting on police officers with shotguns in tote, protesting, and the officers never pulled out tear gas. They never shot rubber bullets at the whites who were outside. Why are we being murdered? Why are we being killed? You know, LeBron James put up an image of Colin Kaepernick the other day kneeling. And then opposite that image was the officer who had his knee in Floyd George's neck. And it said, this is why we kneel, basically. This is why we kneel. That's what Kaepernick was standing for, saying, first of all, kneeling is a sign of reverence, generally. People kneel in Catholic churches. People kneel to pray. People kneel in honor of something. Kneeling is normally a sign of reverence. It's a humbling position. It's a position of humility. But unfortunately, we have somebody who knows how to twist what you see. You think what you see is not what you see. And they have redefined the word. That if you're kneeling at a game, you're unpatriotic. You're un-American. And unfortunately, the world has been duped into believing that. And when I say the world, I'm not talking about those that are awake and conscious about the reality of what Kaepernick was doing, but I'm talking about those that are in denial and those who refuse to believe or hear the truth. But I want to speak on why we do the looting, and I get it. People are angry, they take to the streets, and in numbers, they feel emboldened and they want to hurt somebody or they want to do something. But destroying the stores that have chosen to be in our community and destroying the stores that donate and contribute to our community doesn't help our community. It's misplaced anger. And I know that it's not the people that are watching me or listening to me now that are the people perpetrating these crimes. But these are the kinds of things that we've got to not just pray about, but call out, not condone. We really have to be conscious and awake about how we speak about those things. It's no more justified than the cops shooting rubber bullets and shooting tear gas at peaceful demonstrations. Both are wrong. I get the anger of us as a people. I get it. I understand it. But it's misplaced anger when we do things that hurt our own community or hurt the potential for our community to be developed into something better. And so I want to invite you guys to the conversation. I'm on an iPad. I couldn't get my computer screen up before I came on, so I couldn't join on this other medium. However, my computer is up now, but I can't switch the feed. But I do want to open up the telephone lines in case you want to call in with a question. The phone number is 347-324-5246. Press 1 to be entered into the queue. If you have a story of the police stopping you or harassing you, or if you have a concern or fear of you've experienced or your husband or your son has experienced and you'd like to share that, because I also think there's some healing in talking about it so that you don't keep the anger inside and let the anger set up and turn into sickness. Again, the phone number is 347-324-5246. I want to afford you an opportunity. I need to preface this. Those that know my show and my executive producer is well aware. My show is not a show where we are cursing on the show, saying racist comments on the show. That's not what I'm about. That's not what Up to Me Radio is about. So I'm prefacing it with that in case you happen to be so angry that you want to kind of go off. That's not what the platform is for. I'm trying to share the platform to hear stories of common interest, common hurt, common pain, common distrust or mistrust. That's what I'm trying to do, afford an opportunity to air some of the grievances, to unpack and talk about and discuss some of the grievances. But in no way, shape, or form am I trying to say, hey, get on here and call out white people or call out cops or whomever, because there are good cops and there are bad cops, and we all know the difference. Not all cops are bad, just like not all black people are bad, and not all white people are bad, and not all Hispanic or Asian or other are bad. But there are some bad seeds, and when those bad seeds are left unchecked, unfortunately, it just grows like a fire. So the phone number again is 347-324-5246. Press 1 to be entered into the queue. Someone's comment is, I'm angry and sad. Haven't been able to shake it. Most moments I'm in faith, but if I'm honest, that's what this person said. Someone else so said, just hearing you is calming. No surprise there. You are always a balm of healing, and for that I say thank you. And I love you so much, my sister. What a blessing. Thank you so much for that. I hope that I can offer some comfort. And I do want to pray for you. I wrote a song that I ended up posting on my Facebook page. It was a combination of the Lord's Prayer and 2 Chronicles, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray. And then it was a freestyle song that I just kind of wrote in the moment called I Trust You. Because I wanted to pray to God, and I wanted to praise God. And the pain was so heavy, though, I just had to sing it. Because I didn't want to I was too hurt to cry in the moment. So I thought, Lord, if I praise you in the midst of this pain, then the enemy doesn't win the hour. And so I just went into worship, and I just prayed to him and praised him in song, because that's what I had. That's what my gift was in that hour. I couldn't do anything to bring back Floyd George, and I couldn't do anything to ensure that justice was served. But I knew that I had a God who sees all and knows all, and who this situation wasn't a surprise to him. You know, I was talking to my husband, I think it was last night or it may have been early this morning, and I said to him, I said, you know, we couldn't play sports. You know, they wouldn't let us play sports early on because, you know, they didn't want us to play sports. They weren't interested in us being on teams, shoulder to shoulder and side by side. They wouldn't even let us fight in wars because they didn't want us fighting side by side with them until, of course, you're needed. Then, yeah, frontline for you. The most dangerous assignments for you. So this isn't new. From slavery forward, these injustices, these dark things, these were done in the secret, these strange things were all taking place. It's not that it's new, it's just that with technology and social media, things are being captured in a way that they never had been before. And as a result of that, we're witnessing things real time. We're witnessing things in real time. And that is, it's unsettling, but it is necessary, because until, like I said, until our brothers and sisters who aren't African American see what we see and don't look away, as painful as it is, you have to see it. You have to see it and let it impact you. Let your eyes witness the injustice. Let your heart feel the pain and the hurt of that mother who has to watch her son die, and know that it didn't have to be so, because he was pleading. He said, sir, in the middle of being in pain, he gives the officer a respect that he didn't deserve, but he knows, I have to give you respect. He knows he's so desperate in that moment to stay alive that he says, sir, I can't breathe. Sir, I can't breathe. I have watched video of, but he does these videos of how he talks to the police and how he tells them his rights and all of this. I mean, talks back to them, insults them, calls them out their name, and he's been pulled over I don't even know how many times, but never is there a thought in his mind that he's not only not going to be drug out of his car and thrown onto the pavement, but he's not even going to be cursed at, spit, let alone shot or killed. And he's on YouTube trying to teach people what you need to tell the officer so that they don't give you a ticket. And we're like, we'll take the ticket. Give me the ticket. I'll take the ticket. Let me live. That I have to ask to let me live for rolling through a stop sign. Or that I have to ask for you to let me live when I am handcuffed on the floor with 4 officers who have guns and tasers. That I have to ask for air. No, that's not normal. That will never be normal. And I feel for my brothers every time a siren goes off behind them. And it could be just that the cop is passing by, but the pounding and the beating of their heart in those moments of wondering if the cop's siren is for them and if they're going to make it home to their family every day. I can't verbally articulate that to you because I'm not the black man who's felt that. I'm not the son who's thought that, who has literally almost had a panic attack because a cop pulled them over and they were wondering if it was a good and a nice cop today or a bad and angry or racist cop today. We pay their salaries. That's not normal. So family, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do to help heal? What can we do to... I started this show talking about May being the month for mental wellness, and I brought that up, or I bring that up because seeing these images messes with you. I'm a believer. I'm a follower of Christ. I am a faith-filled woman. I trust God. I believe that everything that I experience or others experience, if they're a believer, will work out for their good. I believe that God keeps a hedge of protection around me. So in no way, shape, or form is this conversation, this OMG, Maura Gale radio show, this dialogue, this open air about S.I.R to say that I don't trust God. Because I do. I trust God. I don't trust man. And I'm not saying I don't trust all men. I don't trust those who intentionally wake up like the devil does, looking to see whom he can kill, steal, and destroy. I don't trust them. Because I trust God, I pray, I study my word, I intercede on behalf of people, and I do these shows in order to deposit whatever's inside of me, whatever strength is inside of me, to deposit that to my brothers and my sisters to help you have hope in the midst of your hurt, to help you process some things in the midst of this social distancing, to help you come to grips with the reality that not only is it not fair or warranted or justified, but that it's wrong. And we have to figure out a way to collectively use all of the energy and the feelings and emotions, of course, can fuel it, but it's logic and wisdom, and we've got to be strategic about how we get laws to change and how we get our appointed leaders to do things that impact us in a positive way. COVID-19 didn't reveal anything new. It exposed what's been covered up. This police brutality and violence isn't showing us anything new. It's exposing the dark cysts of sin that lies in people's hearts, and how the children are being trained to hate, which is why it is imperative, especially if you're a believer, to love and to extend yourself and to open your circle to people who don't look like you, don't think like you, don't talk like you, don't even live where you live. Because it is in that extension and that camaraderie and that connection, that we can actually turn this big cruise liner of hatred to some place that actually can meet people where they are. I'm so glad my circle isn't all people that look like me, because we all need help, and we all need to hear what other people think and what other people experience. The reason that so many people hate Blacks or African American is because the only image they ever saw was, like I said, of those killing and stealing and robbing. Or they've never lived around, went to school with, went to a family dinner with, hung out with anybody that didn't look like them. And if they did, there was so much hatred in their heart that their motive wasn't pure. So, what can we do? How can we heal? How can we get... I got to put a pin in this because there's another thing, and I don't want to make this multi-layered, but there's a lot of layers to this. This past weekend in Chicago, Memorial Day weekend, from Friday through Monday, there were 49 shootings. 49. One short of 50. So while police brutality is killing our Black people, our brothers, our sisters, our fathers, our sons, COVID-19 is killing our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents that are Black and brown in a disproportionate fashion. We've got gun violence, Black on Black crime, where kids are randomly shooting other people. So the police don't view us as human. And now our boys are growing up to not even see their brothers as human, or their community leaders as human, or their sisters, or their nieces, or their neighbor's kid as human. There's a problem, people. And I don't like to just dig up the problem and not try to give some kind of medicine for it. But 2 Chronicles talks about, if my people by my name would humble themselves and pray, then they would hear from heaven. And then he says, I will heal their land. COVID-19 has exposed some dirty, dark, evil things about our land. Not to be mistaken, I love the land I live in, and I am an American. I have no aught against the United States of America, but I have a problem with hatred and bigotry. I have a problem with injustice. I have a problem with court systems that are stacked against us before you even get started. I have a problem with the fact that the Central Park 5 never got restitution for what took place, really. I got a problem when those things aren't made right when they should be. So that doesn't mean I don't trust God, and it doesn't mean I'm un-American. What it means is I call a spade. I call it like I see it. I shoot straight from the hip. And that doesn't taint my walk with the Lord, and the Lord knows what I feel, what I think, what I experience, what I see, and He knows the tear-stained pillow from the tears that I've cried behind all the injustices. He's aware of it all. There are no secrets between me and Him. None. And so in this last few moments, I don't think there are any callers. So if there aren't, I just want to take a moment, and I want you guys to put your faith with mine. And I want us to bombard heaven. I want us to pray like it's our son. Like Ahmaud Arbery or Floyd George or our son. No matter what color you are, no matter if you have children or not, I want us to bombard heaven and beseech the Lord to heal the land. Heal us of this sickness, this racism, this hatred. Heal us of this dis-ease. Heal us of the emotional wounds that this is causing. Heal the etched in images that we can't seem to shake. We're going to beseech the Lord to heal us. And I'm asking you to put your faith with mine and to begin to humble yourself and pray with me so that we can get healed and so that the medicine comes to our communities, to our people, to our hearts, and to our heads, our minds. Because these wounds, they don't disappear. They don't magically disappear. And we don't have the ability to have temporary amnesia. So they stay with us. They stick on us. They are like a stench after you walk through fire or smoke and you smell the stench of the smoke, or the basement leaks and you go down to move the clothes out and they smell sour or dingy or dirty. This is what this feels like. And so we have to pray for the cleansing of what it's doing to our minds and our hearts and our emotions. We have to pray for those things. And also, do the natural thing. Pick up a pen and some paper, go online and look up where your senators are, your representatives are, and write them and demand that laws be changed and laws be implemented and rules and accountability for things that take place. That's the next step. We pray to God and then we work. Right? You take a step, he takes a step to meet you.
Thanks for listening. To keep in touch and get motivated daily, follow me on social at Maura Gale via Facebook, IG, Twitter, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Plus, you can always visit mauragale.com. Remember, you can catch us online via up2meradio.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and the Stitcher app.